Whenever you see stats about healthy living and quality of life, one country is always in the conversation: Sweden. As someone who's lived half their year in Sweden for the last 6 years, I've noticed 15 unique healthy habits that they do that I think could benefit us in North America. And they don't cost us anything. Number 1, no need to walk. The cities are set up to walk and bike as their daily commute. Walking and biking are not necessarily for exercise, they're for commuting. Typically, smaller cities have a lot of bike lanes, which makes it easier to walk and bike to work. In North America, we do commute 30 to 60 minutes in our car, get home from work, and then have to go on our 30-minute walk. Here, they more so combine the two. Obviously, this is not realistic for a lot of people who there is no bike paths. This is more of an infrastructure change, but maybe reformat your schedule and say, hey, I do a 30-minute walk every day at work. Would walking to work take you 30 minutes? Number 2, Lagom, aka moderation culture. There's an underlying, I don't want to say morality is not the word, but just something that is very typical of a Swede is fitting in, not taking too much, which is also translation to Lagom, just enough. And if I had to define the Swedish mindset, it would be Lagom. Lagom. My heavy Canadian accent. And I'd specifically define it as it's not too little, it's not too much. And this applies to everything they do. And it's just ingrained in them. And I'm going to give an example, and my Swedes are going to laugh. But the Swedish trope is there's one slice of cake left. So what do? You cut the cake slice in half and you take one. And then the other person sees the remaining half slice, cuts it in half, and takes that half. And then you cut that slice in half and take that. And it will forever go until you're stuck in a loop forever, and Swedes are just permanently stuck slicing crumbs in half because you never want to be the person to have more than everybody else. And I just think that mentality can apply to a lot of things in health and wellness, whether it be consumption materialistically, food, and fitness. And I think we're definitely extreme. We're doing it or we're not. And this comes to fitness. And I think just having a bit more of a balanced approach of being like, it's just enough is a victory instead of like overconsumption being the goal. You don't have to be the fittest person. You don't have to diet to the extreme. You can just like moderately do things, and that's succeeding. So that kind of mindset shift. 3, I will never pronounce this word right. Lördagsgodis. Yep, laughs Swedes. I'm sorry, I'm trying to learn Swedish. It's not great. Lördagsgodis, aka Saturday candy. This is where people, especially children, limit their candy and sweet consumption to only Saturdays, creating a special weekend treat and promoting better dental health. A practice that started in the 1950s to combat high tooth decay rates. It involves buying a mix of candies in bulk on Saturdays and enjoying them as a weekly highlight, a tradition still popular today. Obviously, Swedes can eat candy every single day. I'm not saying they don't, but typically that's kind of a tradition for kids, is like every Saturday you go get Saturday candy. And I really like this, not specifically because I'm someone who eats candy every day. I'm not gonna lie. And it's not a restriction thing. It's more of like keeping things magical, having something to look forward to. I'm gonna always use the example of eggnog. If you drink eggnog every day, that's revolting. Eggnog in July, revolting. It's weird. But the magic of eggnog is like Christmas, having it at Christmas. And so I think it's just having something to look forward to on the weekend. So it's just more of like building excitement, building that dopamine, less of like, I can't have candy on Monday. It's making the weekends magical. And that's why I've implemented it even when I'm back in Canada. It's like I always just have like a special treat to look forward to on Saturday. 3, candle culture. Stay with me. Creating low stimulation evenings. Swedes love their candles. Love them. You can see them probably in every single window at night. There is no bright overhead lights. You do not see that at nighttime. Everyone has low lights and candles everywhere to set the mood. And that's kind of the mentality, is just like setting the mood. And ironically, that is great for your sleep. Because one of the things, we all know this, we all know blue light, but just lower lights, set the mood. Candlelight at nighttime can be a great thing. But of course, be careful about candles because, don't burn your house down. And I do want to give a shout out to Miwa's Japanese cooking channel, because she created a video called 15 no-cost Japanese habits that will transform your life. And I obviously just ripped it, and I saw it. I was like, oh, that's such a good video idea. And so, I copied her, but want to go check that out after. And you want a little Japanese change, because another culture that's just dominating in terms of health and wellness. Japanese watchers. Why are you even watching this? You're already kicking butt. Number 4, Smörgåsbord's lunches. I want to talk about the Swedish lunch buffet. It's very typical in Sweden that at lunchtime is way more popular to like sit down and have lunch every day versus like pack your lunch and just eat at your cubicle. And they have less supper culture of going out versus that's really big in North America. We're more grab and go, lunch, chill out dinner. So it's a bit different. But I think what's really cool is a lot of places have buffets, this Smörgåsbord lunch. And what it is typically is it's one of two things. Either there's a wide, just classic buffet, or there's a salad bar and there's like the entrees for the day you order. And I think what's really cool about it, which really stands out, is it's not like a decadent, like it's a buffet, you can eat as much as you want, but it's just like you get a wide variety. Like there's always a big salad bar, you can get so many different vegetables, there's different types of bread, different types of carbs, different protein sources. It's always circling through. And I think that's one important thing in nutrition is getting a wide variety of different proteins, micronutrients, and that's just like typically in the culture. So I really like that. Number 5, sauna culture. I guess technically a sauna can be very expensive. And also, yes, my Finnish watching, do not get mad at me. I know sauna's more your thing. I know, but also in Sweden it's a big thing. But I will always say the Finns, you win. You win when it comes to sauna culture. You are sauna culture. And we all know the health benefits now of sauna. I'm not going to bombard you with that. You can go check out a lot of other channels. But the reason why it's even non-cost here and why it's one of the habits is the accessibility that there is here. Your gym has them. There's plenty in every city. Plus, it's way more likely that people have it in their backyards and in their homes, either built in or they build, because it's a lot more affordable to get them built here. And they also don't have as like fancy ones. There's a lot more just like basic wood saunas that you can build yourself. Versus I think in North America, when we think of saunas, we typically think of this like super fancy thing. So I know this is like no cost. So I will just say sauna culture is becoming more popular. And if it's something you want, maybe look into other ways of getting a sauna that's a bit more affordable or how you can implement it in your routine. And even like I've seen research, I was listening to Dr. Rhonda Patrick, that you can get a lot of the heat exposure therapy benefits from a hot bath. So there's an alternative you can do, but we know the benefits of sauna and it's just the accessibility here in Sweden. Number 6, slow meals, because there's less of a rush culture. A few things I noticed: Swedes don't eat on the go. Obviously, I'm stereotyping. People eat on the go, but typically. And it's more likely that you sit and enjoy your meal, especially lunches, like we talked about. You typically go meet with some coworkers, go to these spots, have lunch, sit down and really enjoy it. And I just think even that's something we can all do in North America. Not all of us, we all have different jobs and responsibilities and time. Like there's sometimes I don't have time for that, so I'm a big hypocrite. But I do think there's something, when you're mindful, you'll always be more conscious towards your goals, whatever that is. It's increasing your fiber, increasing your protein. And when you just take the time to relax and be social, it's a break from the day. I think it's a nice reset and we get out of that fight and flight. And so I think just taking the time to enjoy your lunch, I find is beneficial. But obviously in North America, that's a cultural problem, but hey, try it out if you have access to it. Number 7, very similar, Fika. Dare I say this is a built-in stress management tool for the Swedes. And you've heard it on this channel before, but I have to repeat again. It's a break in the day to enjoy a coffee, treat, and time with friends. Kind of like a tea time, but it's mainly with coffee and sometimes a sweet treat. And I just noticed this is a big cultural difference. Obviously, once again, I'm stereotyping with these. You don't really see coffee on the go. That's the thing. And honestly, I love it. A coffee and shopping. So not everything they do is better than us. Like a coffee, shopping around with friends is so fun. But at the same time, we have a grab and gulp culture and we don't sit down and enjoy it. And so it's kind of like you sit and enjoy your coffee with people. And I just think having that time in the day is important, and something I'm trying to strive at is just, I find I'm more productive, more optimal when I can just take moments to relax, to socialize, to be with friends. And I think just having that Fika culture is like more ingrained and it's more socially acceptable to be like, oh, let's grab a Fika. And I think that's something we could implement more and just be more mindful of versus your coffee just be means to an end. Number 8, which I am going to pronounce so wrong, Alice Monstraten. No, Anyways, the right to roam. A legal concept that says nature belongs to everyone. You can walk, hike, camp, swim almost everywhere, as long as you respect the land. Daily nature exposure without cost or planning. I feel this in my soul as a Canadian. Like there's 2 towns, Jasper and Banff, that are part of our national parks. And as an Albertan, it really rains is like a part of my identity. We grow up going there. And so like, I think it's kind of in that. It's the accessibility to nature. Nature is a part of us. It's a part of your life and getting out in there. And there's so many benefits of just sunlight, moving your body, zone 2. So it's one of those things like we can be very clinical and be like, get your vitamin D, get your zone 2, when it's just like naturally ingrained when we just have time in nature. And I think having this like the respect of the land, and I think it goes both ways, is you have the freedom to walk around, the safety to walk around, but also you respect that nature. And I think that's really good. And it almost becomes that meditation when you're there and like you respect the land you're in, you look around, you don't litter. And I think that's like a great thing that is here. And I just find because it feels a part of your identity, you're more likely to engage in going out in nature. And I think that's a big thing. If you do want a shift in your lifestyle, in improving any healthy habits, it comes down to identity change because it becomes a part of you. And because it's a part of Swedes and just Swedish culture, you're more likely to do it. And so I think that's one of those things is like, you don't have to become Swedish to do this. And obviously a lot of cultures have this aside from Sweden, but maybe that's something you could do as like a lifestyle change is like, you're someone who gets out in nature. 9, and I hope you're all laughing at these pronunciation, Friluftsliv. Technically a Scandinavian saying, not just Swedish. It's originally Norwegian and very similar to the word we talked about before, the right to roam. But I'm going to tie it to a big Swedish saying. But anyways, this is kind of open air life. It's not just hiking. It's not just fitness, not just adventure sports. It means existing outdoors as a part of your daily life. And where it links to the Swedish saying is there's no bad weather, just bad clothes. So I would definitely recommend this. I'm born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta. No one can come at me and say, I don't know cold. I know cold. I know minus 40 Celsius recesses. So don't come at me and say I don't know cold. But the difference is Swedes embrace it and learn you just have to dress properly. And obviously that costs some money, but just like learning how to dress for the weather is a big thing. Like learn the different materials that you can use to help stay warm, like the things you need to protect, all that. And I think just educating yourself on how to dress for different weathers is so beneficial to actually making it enjoyable. Because yeah, I'm not going to go out in the cold in a pair of just like light leggings. I'm going to go out with a base layer, insulating layer, and an outside layer. And then there's something so nice about it. Number 10, mysa, aka cozy. I'm definitely not fluent in Swedish yet, but I do know how often they use the word cozy. Cozy this, cozy that, everything's cozy. But cozy isn't bed rotting. Cozy, calm, without productivity. A little different than hygge, which is a Danish saying. It's a bit more casual, a little less aesthetic. It means being comfortable, being warm, being calm. You can also lean into hygge, which is another great one to look into, but once again, Danish. But it's just such a priority of having that time in the evening to just down-regulate, relax before bed. And I think the biggest difference is cozy in North America typically can lead to overconsumption. It is really about what can you buy, how many fluffy blankets do you need, you just need so much, or it's on the flip side, like cozy is associated with being lazy. And I think that's the big difference is like cozy is seen as a positive. It's like you're relaxing. Oh, I'm being at home cozy instead of, and it is changing the culture with this, but I think intentional environment, making it cozy to relax and creating that zone and not being a place of guilt and realizing this is what you need after a hard day's work to relax and unwind before you go to bed. And that's why it naturally works with improving our sleep. If you're bed rotting, that's a whole different concept, but schedule in coziness. And it doesn't have to be buying the new blanket. It can just be lowering the lights, putting on a show, sitting on a couch, and snuggling with some loved ones or a cute pup. And try to tell yourself you are not being productive, because I know a lot of us are type A out here, and I'm like, oh, I'm so cozy and relaxed, and my HRV is going to be so nice after this, and I'm going to get better sleep. So try not to do that, even though it subconsciously does that. And yeah, us type A's, we are how we are. Number 11, this one some people might be angry at, but leaving your kids out in the cold. You may have seen articles of this, of the practice of Swedish and other Scandinavian parents letting their babies nap outdoors in the cold weather, and it's a long-standing cultural tradition rooted in the belief that fresh air promotes better health and longer sleep. And some believe it is beneficial to improving immunity. Now, I couldn't find any exact studies to link that, so I'm not going to say that. But there's two things that I think this healthy habit is so beneficial. One is I can't deny the fact that it's like this collective feeling of raising children. There's like the safety they have of being able to leave your kids out of a store, which in North America, we're like, absolutely not. So I'm not saying just leave your kid outside of a store. Please do not. Please, I am not responsible if you take that as a literal thing, but it's more, that is one part. Is there's like a collective that your kids are all safe. That's one thing. But the second, I think, is it just creates a lack of a fear of cold. If since you were a young kid, you were raised that like you can go out in the cold and just hang out there and just dress properly, it's going to change your identity when you get older. So you're more likely to be the person who goes out in nature when it's freezing cold. So I think it's just one of those things that it just becomes a part of your identity. And so you're less likely to fear the cold when you get older. Number 12. Okay, we're going to try this word. Dostagning. My fiance is screaming. aka the Swedish death clean. Now, I have a whole video called I Declutter My Life in 30 Days, and I kind of briefly talked about like different versions of the death clean, and you can go check that video out. So there's a term called a death clean in Sweden. This surprising process of clearing out unnecessary belongings can be undertaken at any age or life stage that should be done sooner than later, before the others have to do it for you. The gentle art of the Swedish death clean artist Margareta Magnusson, with Scandinavian humor and wisdom, instructs readers to embrace minimalism. Her radical and joyous method for putting things in order helps family broach sensitive conversations and make the process uplifting rather than overwhelming. So that is a direct quote, and so yeah, it's as morbid as it sounds. It's every once in a while, do a death clean. So it's kind of the idea that like if you were to die, yeah, all that embarrassing stuff is gone. And also the things that like you don't want your family to have to deal with. And as someone who lost their father last year, yeah, I had to do the death clean. That was depressing. I found stuff that I was like, why did you keep this camera that's broken and dusty? And just, you see stuff, and I was like, okay, yeah, didn't want to see that. A couple things were nice. A couple things where I was like, oh yeah, my dad's old trophies, cool. A lot, I was like, so yeah, and I think just naturally every once in a while, it's just a good way to like mentally declutter in the sense of it really makes it obvious. Like it's kind of just a little reminder in the back of your mind if you're someone like me who has trouble letting go, as clearly my father did. I wonder where that OCD pipeline came from, that one. But yeah, it's kind of a nice thing. I was like, oh, should I keep this? Should I not? Would I be embarrassed if I died and someone had to deal with this? Yeah, there you go. Food for thought. Morbid. 13, the Nordic diet. We often hear about the Mediterranean diet and its health benefits, but not as much as the Nordic diet, which I recently saw on the National Geographic, which I want to talk about. And according to it, it has health benefits thanks to the combination of anti-inflammatory and antioxidant-rich foods, and is based on locally sourced seasonal goods with a strong emphasis on healthiness, flavor, and sustainability. And I can confirm there is so many restaurants, even in our smaller town here in Sweden, that really focus on local foods. Like almost all the menus are rotating because whatever meat they could get in, what vegetables are in season. And it's really typical here where I'm in Sundsvall is like a big chunk of the restaurants post on Facebook, because that's where their pages are, Instagram, their menu for the week, and be like, oh, this is what we have in, and like it's a very common thing. Like most of the restaurants do it. And I'm going to list off some specific foods in the article that they link to the Nordic diet, which is berries, apples, root vegetables, whole grains, lots of fatty fish, which we know the benefits of. Seasonings like parsley, dill, mustard, lots of dairies between Icelandic yogurt, and so much kefir, which is a probiotic, but a lot of kefir. I thought it was milk first time. Rude awakening. It was not. Big cartons of kefir everywhere. I will say though, like anywhere on earth, thanks to social media and capitalism and just how the world has worked, is like there is a lot more things accessible everywhere. So I know I will get some comments saying like, oh yeah, but like there is a lot more processed, ultra processed food. Diets are changing, and that's true, and that's the reality. And I don't have an answer there, and especially younger generations, but also when you're young, you live off Pop-Tarts. That's just what you do until you actually learn about stuff. But yeah, I just thought, maybe the Mediterranean diet you're a little bored of. Try some recipes from the Nordic diet. Number 14, quiet, safe public places. Parks, libraries, playgrounds. I always find there's just so many public places people can hang out and be safe and be active outside. And obviously this is a big cost from the government, is that we don't really have accessibility, but it's just something like I'm even trying to be more mindful of. Like moving back to my hometown in Edmonton is like so much has been built since I've been there of like local parks and resources like that like we don't take advantage of. And so maybe look into wherever you live and see if there's a park you can go explore, if there's a library, like what resources is your city giving you that we don't take advantage of that can just be safe, active, and more social. And 15, which I'll also lead into, city design. Cities here are designed to support health, and health is seen as more of like a collective responsibility. Their walkability, public transit, green spaces, bike lanes. And I often romanticize this and do wish everywhere in the world had this. But there's two things. Sweden, compared to like Canada, is a lot smaller of a country and a lot older. And I think we have to remind ourselves of that. It's a lot harder to build in places like Canada just because it's so vast and underpopulated when you really see the side of it. And also it hasn't been around that long. Same with USA. So I think there's just been more of the ability to build up these infrastructures that have been built over time. And so sometimes I'm like, give yourself a little grace with all these when you're like, wow, it sounds so great and we We romanticize these places and then realize we don't have that here. And I'm not saying Sweden doesn't have its problems. Every country has its problems, but they also have their benefits. And one day I would actually love to do this about Canada and even US, because I know it makes it seem like I'm giving them a bad rap. For the most part, comparing different cultures, it's not saying one's better. They're just different. And some of these things are realistic for us in Canada or US. But I think it can be eye-opening of just different ways we view things, because we're so brought up in certain ways. We just see it and this is how everything's set up. And then every once in a while you just think, wow, yeah, I could walk to work in 30 minutes, but I drive to work for 30 minutes to go on a 30-minute walk. Why don't I just walk to work? Like, you know what I mean? I've been this person. So in summary, maybe look up some Nordic diet recipes to mix it up. 2, consider walking more. 3, slow down and enjoy your coffee and have that moment. Make your evenings low vibe. Kind of have your identity tied to nature, which makes you more likely to go out. Learn how to properly dress in different weathers. It will also make you enjoy nature. And try and have lunch with friends sometimes. If your work allows it, because we're also, not always allowed. And hopefully by us prioritizing things like this, and look, in case maybe your city has implemented more resources for you that you don't even realize it, because I know I'm not, and then every once in a while I'm like, oh, yeah, my city provides that for free. I should go take advantage. Like a library card. Maybe just go to the library. Have a great day. Go pet a dog. Love you guys. Bye.